if I should be kneeling down for this or what. I have no makeup on. I feel like a pale ghost, and a scary one at that. I know some people, some women that don't wear makeup and they're like that's their thing and they don't mind it. I've always wanted to wear makeup because I felt like I wasn't complete without it, because it was just, I don't know. So anyways, it's like 4 something. I'm gonna walk and talk at the same time because I need to lower I thought the volume was lowered, but it's not. I have YouTube on and I'm trying to listen to like peaceful, tranquil lady in the forest playing guitar. She actually plays, her name is Diana Lopez. She plays really, really, like, it's super peaceful and tranquil music. I'll get closer. I don't know this lady, but this is what Bonnie's over here. She's like, what are you doing, Mom? But yeah, I put this, it's actually very peaceful. But for copyright thing, I don't know if I could play it in the background, but anyways. Oh, let me migrate back to the bathroom. I'm gonna do a get ready with me styles videos while my straightener heats up. I'm gonna put on my, can I say the word titty? Titty covers, I don't mind. It's natural, that's the human body. So if that bothers you, I'm sorry. I've become much more comfortable in my skin as of recently, the past year or so, and I feel really grateful for that because I, whatchamacallit, I'm gonna put my hair in a bun though, because I used to be very, very insecure about just nakedness and all that stuff, sexy time, and I literally call sex sexy time. And I'm 34 years old. Go figure. But in all seriousness, I am going to kind of address the topic. Oh my god, it's so bright. It's 4:20 something, 4:22, or almost like 4:30 in the afternoon here, Central Time, in Chicago. I'm gonna kneel down just because it's easier. Yeah, 4:30 something. I'm still alive by the grace of God. If you haven't watched my videos, I do talk about like targeting and all this stuff that I never thought I would go through in my life. Oh my god, my forehead. I have so many, but I've learned they're called sebaceous filaments and they sit on your hairline. They're like, so there's these little keratinized, so in your pores, fun fact, you have like these little, I don't know if it's like dead skin cells or something, but it's a keratin plug, and it's different than a blackhead, but I get them all along my hairline and my chin. I get them a lot in my nose. I have a really oily T-zone, which is this and this, right? I don't know. I'm not a skin guru. I'm gonna make this brighter. Hold on 2 seconds. What the fuck? How does a fly get in here? I don't even know. The windows are closed. Anyways, yeah, so good times. I still have like the chin hairs kind of, sort of. I pluck them every day. I have peach fuzz, which I do have those little razors that you do the dermaplaning. I don't know exactly how to do dermaplaning. This has been for years, probably since COVID. I've been trying to figure out how to do dermaplaning, because there's these women that legit like wash their face and then they'll shave their entire face. So I haven't gotten that into it because of all the trauma and all the stuff that I've experienced for the past like 6 years. My whole self-care, skincare routine kind of went down the drain. And because when you're in survival mode, you can't even like think about half that stuff. Like all the girly stuff that I used to think about, like, oh my god, I want to go to Sephora and I want to I don't know, go to Ulta. Like when I was in Miami, I used to like get in my car, drive like 20-30 minutes to Kendall, which is Kendall, Florida, is like where Dayland Mall and kind of like, you know, different shopping malls are, Miami-Dade College, stuff like that. And I would literally like legit drive over there, and there was like a DSW, there was Macaroni Grill, there was a movie theater, and there was an Ulta. And then fortunately they put an Ulta closer to me. Bro, there's this fly, it's like a little gnat that keeps like flying around. It's annoying. They're God's creatures, but they're annoying. You know, the little insects are kind of annoying. So anyways, as I was saying, they put an Ulta by in this like kind of like an outdoor mall. It was like multi-level. They had like a gym. They had Marshall's, Nordstrom Rack. That was like one of my favorite places to go to back home when they built that. And yeah, oh my god, that was like my favorite place to go to. I loved Marshall's. Oh my god, it's just like my life has changed so much since then. Everything that I knew, like my routines, all the stuff that I love to do, just like completely. And now I'm like, my main goal is just to survive every day. Literally, like that's my goal, is to survive every day. I feel like I'm trying to get better at not thinking about it, because what you think you attract, like everyone knows that by default. Like even if you're not spiritual, like you just know like what you think you attract, like what you give your energy to grows, and you magnetize it to yourself. So like I try not to think about it too much, even though it's at the forefront of my life. You know, because you're constantly, the whole like, I hate saying gang stalking, I really do, because it's not really gang stalking, because there's not like a gang. You know, like when you think of like the gangs, like, is that a gang sign? I don't know what the signs are, you know, when they have like the teardrop tattoo on their, you know. I don't want to make fun of people that join gang life, because people do that to survive, and that's culture, and that's where, you know, people, when they grow up in the hood, and that's what they do to survive. But anyways, I didn't grow up in the hood. I grew up in a very prim, proper, upper middle class neighborhood. Back to what I was saying. But yeah, if you do watch my other videos, I am very grateful to be alive. I've been trying to eat bit by bit, because if you don't know, I went through a pretty scary food poisoning incident where like I legit, I'm pretty sure either my drink was spiked, or not the food necessarily, but like it happened like several months ago when I was in Indiana, and then that kind of just set off like me being petrified to eat stuff. And it goes along, it coincides with other stuff that's happened to me. I just realized I'm in my bathroom. Oh my god, life. And I'm kneeling down. I feel like I'm gonna propose to someone. Like I'm literally like on one knee. If you see me, this is what it looks like. I'm sorry, I'm showing my midriff. If you are not someone who doesn't want to see a midriff of a 34-year-old, then look away. But I am in the comfort of my home. And yes, if I went out, I'd probably put a sweater on, because I am a lady. I try to be a lady, but I am in short shorts, and it is kind of still summertime when I think about it, but I am like kneeling down. But anyhow, ¿qué más? What else? I'm very proud of myself for how far I've come. I strongly encourage people that if you're going through something hard, like everyone collectively, we're all going through hard stuff. Like, I think sometimes people go, oh, my trauma is harder than yours. See, this is what I mean by, like, see how purple my veins get? My whole hand looks purple. This is what I mean by poison. My veins will, like, my skin will turn really pale, and then I look like I have skeleton hands. But then my veins will pop out and be, like, really purple. I'm used to it by now. I'm like that character, what's the lady in Batman by Uma Thurman, when she gets pushed into like the ivy and then she becomes poison ivy. I'm like, I'd like to think that maybe, I try to in my mind imagine it being medicine, and then that's what I try to, and I know a few people are like, well, if you're being poisoned, then why don't you go to the police? It's kind of complicated. And yeah, blood tests can reveal that, but then this is where the topic comes to. We're going to talk about building trust after betrayal. I just realized I kind of look like there's a woman, because my hair's in a bun and it looks shorter. There's a woman that was on AGT. Her name was Nightbird, and she was a singer, and she had cancer or leukemia or something. She ended up passing away, unfortunately. May you rest in peace, lady, wherever you are. Beautiful lady. Anyways, that kind of made me nervous when I said that, because I do kind of, she had really short hair, and she was petite, and she had like a black shirt on, kind of like this. And I do actually ask, like, I get nervous sometimes when I ask myself because of targeting. Because when you're targeted, people can do all sorts of shit to you, and then they get away with it because they know people in high places. And unfortunately, I think my targeting has consisted of a lot of drugging and a lot of poisoning, and exposure to toxic chemicals and hazardous materials, and even, I think, like radiation. So, I don't know. I just saw 1111 on the clock, and usually when you see 1111, you want to make a wish, because those are angel numbers. I've been seeing a lot of angel numbers lately. Like, even when I'm recording, I'll see like 555, or like I just saw 123, or like 4444, or what I saw the other day was 5959, and I learned 5 is a number of change and 9 is completion. So it's like new beginnings, letting go of the old, releasing the past, that kind of thing. I've been wanting to get tested for cancer and stuff, just because, and I think it's good that everyone does this, even if in your 30s, because think about it, if you can figure out like what's going on with yourself now, you can prevent, like, you know, down the line, you can help yourself. And like, I know there's women that have the BRCA gene. I don't know, I was adopted, so I don't really know my medical history. Like, I don't know if I did the 23andMe thing a few years ago, so I don't know, you know. It said that I'm not, like, I didn't have the genes and stuff, like for ovarian cancer or multiple sclerosis, like the big things I was worried about. And cancer, I can't recall if they mentioned or not. But anyways, we're going to talk about something that's very sticky, not like actually sticky, but hard to discuss, which is building trust after betrayal. And I'm going to kind of do it while I'm putting makeup on, because I like that. I think it's fun to, like, not, like, instead of just sitting down at my desk and be like, let's talk about this, and this, because I think that's just boring. No offense. Like, I was doing that before, and I just was like, this is boring. I was like, let me merge the things that I like putting on makeup and doing my hair and all the girly stuff. Because let me tell you, when you go through trauma, and I'm sorry if I cry, the last thing, like, feeling girly and doing girly things and putting on makeup and all this stuff is like the last thing you think about. Because the hurt is so deep, and you're focused on, like, survival, that, like, I couldn't even focus, like, on, and plus I don't have the finances to either, like, the stuff that I used to, I hope one day I can say all this without crying. I read on Pinterest that when you can tell your story and you don't cry anymore, that means you've healed. So I'm not fully healed yet, but I'll get there, you know, within time. But yeah, all the stuff that I used to do, I don't really have the luxury of doing it anymore. Meaning, like, I used to be able to afford, I can't believe I'm crying about Sephora. That's so stupid. And that's material things, and I'm not materialistic. It's just like, there was a certain level of fun and independence that came with, like, going to the shopping mall. You know, it's so funny though. This is ironic because, like, whenever I go shopping, I actually, like I would go to Macy's, right, back in Miami, Florida, years ago, and, like, I would take like 30 to 50 clothing items into the dressing room and nothing would ever fit me. Nothing. Fast forward to, I was gonna say flash forward, fast forward to like 2 years ago, and I go on Stitch Fix. Shout out to Stitch Fix. They have been the only company, I swear to God. These shorts are from Stitch Fix. I don't know if you want me to model shorts. I used to, I don't know, you could roll them up, but that looks kind of short though. Short shorts. I could do that, I mean, but it's not. The brand is called, I think it's Unina. It's Eunina. And they're the only company that's been able, like, to actually have clothes that fit me. Ever. Like, everything legit fits me. Like, I have a romper that I love. Other stuff is there? Oh, this one. What's this from? No. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm grabbing clothes. Oh, this one. So, like for example, not to do like fashion show time, but this one, oh, that looks really, it looks weird on the hanger. It looks super weird, but it's like a camo military style green color. It's a bodysuit, so the bottom, I know it looks really ugly. I promise when it's on, it doesn't look ugly. I promise. It's actually super cute. The brand is called Kaylee. This is super cute too. I know it looks weird. Is there a hole? I know it looks weird, but it's like really comfy. I like it. See, this is where I go. I'm turning into my mom because my mom wears long sleeve shirts all the time. This is a romper from the brand Threads and Supply. I know it looks so ugly, and I probably should iron the clothes, but I'm lazy and I don't really have the space. I mean, I kind of do, but the dryer downstairs, or any dryer, kind of just takes the wrinkles out. This is from Stitch Fix. I told you I'm a lady. I don't dress like a whore. I take it back though. If I'm doing sexy time, full disclosure, I love lingerie and all that stuff. It's like, I will be a lady in the streets, out in public, but when it comes time to sexy time, I do like lingerie though. Because I used to think it was really sinful years ago. And because I was raised, you know, Catholic Christian, and when you're a good Catholic Christian girl, you don't talk about naughty things. So, oh my god, my iron over here is like burning up. Whew, caliente. This is one of my favorite rompers actually. It's so comfy. And it looks so cute when it's on. So you can kind of see, even though I don't know if you're supposed to wear white during, I think it's like after Labor Day you can't wear white, but it's so comfy. Rompers are really, really, it's ingenious because it's a top with a bottom attached. I know it looks super wrinkled. I promise I take good care of my clothes. Anyways, I'm not going to do a whole fashion show and try on a bunch of stuff from Stitch Fix. But anyways, my point is, I used to do a lot of normal things before targeting and all that, and then everything changed. And I had to rearrange. See, this is, you can see the purple. See the purple in my veins when I talk about poison? You can kind of see it. I just learned to push through it. I don't have a choice. I just tell my mind, pretend it's medicine, and move on. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, my whole life, it just kind of, everything just changed. And the stuff that's why if you're not targeted, please don't take your life for granted. Please don't. And I'm being very candid because, like, just the simplest of things, like let's say you want to go to Burger King or you want to go to Chipotle. I can't do that because I have to worry about, is a worker gonna put stuff in my food? or my drink. And I'm being serious, like I'm being dead ass serious. I'm not joking. I'm not joking, folks. It's like a real thing. Targeting is a real freaking thing. There are people who get assigned, or are perps as they're called, and their whole mission is to stalk you and make your life a living hell just because maybe you pissed off someone else. Some people speculate it's government, some people speculate it's not government, some people think it's like some rich corporations and they have their little minions that they disseminate and their little security group or military style, whatever. I can't really, I've been trying to rack my head and go back and forth. I go, who is it, God? I'm like, why? Because I've been asking God, I go, why would you allow this? You know, why? I've gone back and forth. I go, why? Why would you allow these people to just destroy people's lives, like psychologically, financially, emotionally? Because they do. They start smear campaigns about you. They'll lie about you, and then if you move to a new city, they'll start the whole thing over there. Like spies for hire kind of thing, but they're not spies, like it's government stuff. Like, I mean, maybe, yeah, maybe it could, to an extent it could be, but like my thing is like the government is so vast, right? And everyone, it has a role, right? There's different facets of government. There's executive, judicial, and legislative. And I would think that I would imagine that they wouldn't allot or allocate dollars to just hire people to provoke and stalk other people for, I don't know what the goal is of that, you know, unless there's like the only thing I thought of was like human trafficking, because maybe for every life that's lost, maybe someone gets a payout. You know, that's the only thing I can think of, because the stuff with the hacking and the surveillancing and the weird shit that's come up on my phone, I go, that's intentional. That's intentional. That's literally meant to wear me down and break me down. And they were pretty good. Like, but I'm very rooted in my faith. Like, I'm like, ever since I was like 8 or 9 years old, I've been so deeply rooted in my faith. And I can't describe it. I always felt this connection to nature, animals, the unseen world, the metaphysical world. So I never had to like personally like have proof of like some God or some force or source. I knew it because I go, look at how miraculous it is that a baby is created. That's a miracle. You're telling me the sperm and the whatever come together and then they duplicate and then a baby's created? Like, that's insane. Even like when you look at the leaf, right? You look at a leaf. I remember when I was a kid, I used to like love looking at leaves because I used to trace the veins of a leaf, and I was like, this is the coolest thing. The simplest of things used to intrigue me so much. Whereas other kids were off doing stuff, I was just intrigued by nature and the way things work. And I was very inquisitive. I'm still very inquisitive as an adult. But my thing is, how could another human hurt another human like that intentionally? And it's so mean. Like, even just like Starbucks. I haven't gone to Starbucks in ages. Now granted, I know Starbucks is not like super healthy for you, but that was my thing, bro. Starbucks was like my place. That was my place. And now I haven't been to Starbucks in ages. I'm such a fan of Starbucks. If you're not, and I know people go, that's so commercialized. There's such a better coffee out there that's like so niche and boutique. Well, you know what? I grew up on Starbucks. Some of my best memories growing up, when I was like 12 years old, I would go to, before we went to my grandmother's house, we would go to this Starbucks on the corner of this shopping mall in Pinecrest, Florida. And it was right next to a Blockbuster. This is when Blockbuster was still around. If you don't know what Blockbuster is, then God bless your soul. Then you're not a 90s kid. I'm a 90s kid. So we used to go to Blockbuster, and then we used to go to Starbucks, or vice versa. And I remember I would get an Oreo cookie bar. Oh my God. This thing was like heaven. It was like this magnificent, delectable delightful bar of a thing. And it was like cream with this under layer of the cookie crust of the Oreos, and then cookie crumbles on top, and then like almost like a mousse, not like a fudge, but this like cheesecake consistency chocolate confectionery concoction in the bar. And it was just like so damn delightful. And I got that. I would get the cookie. Their chocolate chip cookies were like my thing. And they'd say, do you want it warmed up? And I'm like, no. And then I would get a glass of milk, which was hilarious because I'm like, you go to Starbucks, and I would get, and then I migrated to actual coffee, like those, you know, the specialty coffees, the frappuccinos and the lattes. And the last time I had Starbucks was probably, I don't know if it was when I was in Virginia, or maybe when I was on the road somewhere, traveling from one place to another. It's just so weird how my life, and no one understands, people misconstrue trauma or being traumatized for mental health disorders, like mental illness, meaning like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and they're such two distinct things. Like, I look okay now, but I know it's in my body. I know trauma is stored in my cells, in my body, in my nervous system, and then that compounded with heavy metal intoxication, forget about it, bro. Like, and even if I like moved or I wanted it to stop, the people could still do it because it's evil. People are evil. That's another thing that I'm having a hard time coming to grips with, is that how evil people truly are. Like, it's one thing to talk poorly about someone, like, oh, I don't like her shirt. Or like someone butts you in line or cuts in front of you, like when you're driving. That's like customary, normal, everyday stuff. People trying to intentionally hurt your body and make you sick, that's a whole nother thing that I don't know. I've been coping through it. I've been going through it, like I'm living through it. And I cry like a motherfucker, excuse my language. Like after work, I'm working now, you know. I feel blessed that I have a job right now. But after work, I will literally break down crying. Because while I'm working, I'm in such pain. Because, you know, when I drink my water, for some reason, water doesn't agree with me, and it feels like shards of glass piercing my skin. Or in my insides, not my skin. It feels, I'll put it this way. Sometimes it feels like I'm drinking venom. Like, that's the only way I can explain it. So as I'm trying to make calls to people and focus and just push my way through it, it's like I cry because I can't even enjoy the job that I have. But I love it. Because I love talking to people. I love helping people. I'm very like socially oriented, like human service-based oriented jobs are my thing. That's why I was a child life specialist, because I liked helping kids. And now it's like I have to help myself. I'm gonna start putting makeup on as I do this because time's a wasting, and I do have stuff that I have to do. I try to tell myself for however long I'm still here for, because I don't know how long it takes for poisons and venom to completely, you know, wipe away your cells in your body. The weirdest thing is that when I take my vitals, because I do have a pulse ox, I have, my oxygen is pretty decent. My perfusion index is kind of low. It's weird, it varies. Sometimes it'll go to like 8.8 and then sometimes it goes to 1.2. And if some of the things I'm saying don't make sense to you, just, I'm sorry. Like, I do like medicine and I do enjoy healthcare to an extent. So you can look up, it's a respiratory therapy thing, perfusion index, like VO2, that's another respiratory therapy, RT thing, if you will. So yeah, I'm gonna put on my eyebrows. There's a song from the musical Annie, where it's called, I think it's called "You're Never Fully Dressed Without a Smile." It's like one of the first songs when I was like a kid that I learned in like summer camp. I don't know if I'm doing. I usually do this in the mirror, but and it's like, "You're never fully dressed without a smile," whatever, however it goes. And I feel like tell myself I'm never fully dressed until I have my eyebrows. Because it's true. I actually had a yoga student once, God bless his heart. He's like, "You look so different, Miss Ashley. What's wrong with your face?" And I'm like, oh my God. His name was Seva. I'm not going to say his full name, but his name was Seva. And I'm like, Seva, I'm like, you know, I don't, you know, sometimes I wear makeup, sometimes I don't. And he's like, he's like, "But your eyebrows." And I'm like, good Lord, children, you can't get anything past children. And they have no filter, so they just say whatever they want. But it made me laugh because I was like, you know, whatever. He was a cute kid, very sweet kid. I'm gonna do my cheek tint. But yeah, life has changed a lot since all this stuff started. And it's been hard, like really, really hard. I try to remind myself that there are good people out there, because I go, Ashley, if you're good and you're kind, then there have to be other people like you out there, you know? I used to tell myself, I was like, I wish there was a community of people like in Walking Dead, you know how they created Alexandria, where they created their own community of like people who are like not targeted, well yeah, by the zombies or whatever, and they try to find safety from the zombies. That was like one of my favorite shows at one point, like legit. I had like Maggie was my favorite character. Negan was crazy. Glenn and Maggie were like the cutest couple ever. Carol was a badass. Michonne was a fucking badass with her katana sword. Who else am I missing? Michonne, Carol, Maggie. Oh my god, I forgot the names of the people. So, anyways, what else, as I was saying? But yeah, my life has completely changed drastically. I'm gonna put my earrings on, because why not? Oh, now she's in the car. She's in this truck. Still in the car. The lady that I was watching before, actually, I'm gonna move all this stuff. And it's so sad because, you know, the color white, for some reason, the people with the gang stalking, they keep wearing a lot of things with white. And white to me symbolizes like, kind of like sympathy, grief, mourning. And I'm like, why does everyone wear white? Like, is this a thing? Like, lately, I'm not kidding. It's like you would think people were in a cult and everyone decided to wear white. But whatever. As I was saying, I put my earrings on. They're little flower earrings. These are from Stitch Fix, actually. You can kind of see what they look like. See, they're like a little blossom flower, and it has a pearl in the middle, I think, right? Yeah, there's like a pearl in the middle. It's lined with gold. It's like etched with gold on the outside. They were kind of big when I got them, but I was like, fuck it. I was like, I don't care. They're cute to me. Oh, I put on highlighter. It's like liquid highlighter from Benefit. It's called Dew La La. D-E-W La La. Like ooh la la, but Dew La La. So, I don't know what to do about I do the same makeup every day. Because there's people who are on YouTube and they're like, oh my god, we're gonna do the glitter sparkles. And I'm like, no, we're not doing, and I like glitter, but I'm not gonna put it all over my face. Unless I was doing like a dance cheer competition. Which I never did cheerleading or anything like that. But, because you know, they put like the glitter spray in your hair and they do the big bows and whatnot. It's really cute. I am gonna put concealer under my eyes. Even though I'm not going out. Am I gonna go out later to get stuff? Maybe, I don't know. It depends on my mood. I literally, that's another thing. That's another byproduct of trauma, is like you never want to talk to anybody. You don't want to go out. You don't want to. Look, I'm putting on war paint. I look like I'm going to go to Avatar. You know the movie Avatar by James Cameron? I look like I'm like part of the, what was it called? The Navi? I think that's what they're called. That area of Disney World was fucking amazing. That ride was fucking amazing. I'm trying to manifest being able to go on a Disney trip one day. I don't know when that's gonna be, but I'm so delulu sometimes. I'm like, I really honestly think, and I'm like broke ass as shit, and I'm like, but you know what? I don't know how, but I'm like, I'm gonna manifest going to Orlando again. Well, also because they created Super Mario World. They literally legit created like Game Boy, like 90s nostalgia. They created Super Mario World. Tell me that's not like a dream to go to. Who would not want, if someone told me, was like, I would not want to go to Super Mario World, I'd be like, you're crazy. I was like, if you could give me a choice of like, I don't know, something over going to like Super Mario. There's Harry Potter World also. I haven't been to I've been to Harry Potter World once, and that was years ago. And I don't know if I'd buy like oh my god, I would love a scarf from like, because they have the Gryffindor scarf, they have the Hufflepuff, they have the Ravenclaw, the Slytherin. They have all those souvenirs over there. But I would love to go to Harry Potter World and the Super Mario World, and there's another one. I grew up going to theme parks and stuff, so like I'm so used to it. And yes, I would do that at 34. I also want to go to, oh my god, and they have it in Carmel, Indiana. It's called the Cake Bake Shop, and it's like super expensive just for like one slice of cake, but like, man, does that shit look good. And then this, in one video I saw on Instagram, this girl celebrated her birthday, and then they gave her like pixie dust. This is where I say I'm such a girly girl, but they literally gave her pixie dust, and then she went like this, and she went, and then it sprinkled all over her cake. I'm like, bro, I'm like, I'm so poor. I can't do any of this stuff. But you know what? I celebrated the fact that she got to celebrate her birthday, because that made me happy. Because if someone else got to be happy, then that's like, I got to share in that joy, in that moment, to watch her video, you know. And that's what makes kind of Instagram and stuff like that fun, because you get to share special moments, you know, with other people that maybe can't do that stuff. It also makes it kind of sad, but if you celebrate other people's successes and their wins and you don't get jealous, it has no bearing on you. Like, I didn't get jealous at all. I was a slight twinge. I was like, man, I wish that was me. But I told myself, I'm like, with hard work and dedication, maybe one day I'll be able to go to these places. And yes, I would go alone on a solo trip, because I don't mind taking myself out by myself, because I enjoy my own company. I could bring a book. Yeah, I could be on my phone, but I'd probably bring a book instead, because that kind of place is a place that you bring a book to, you know, of some sort, and you just sit and you have your tea and your biscuits and your cake and coffee or whatever, and then you just enjoy your time. So anyways, I'm gonna move on to, I did concealer. The concealer is called Creaseless by Tarte. And let me tell you, a little goes a long way with this stuff. It's a tiny little bottle, but it works. I'm going to extend my lashes now. My hair is in a very, I really did it a very French bun. I have these little hairs, so you can't really see them. Okay, you kind of see them here. They're kind of annoying because they're like short. Can I try to show it? Kind of came out. They're like kinky curls. I don't know if you kind of see it. See how it kinks like that? That's what a kink is in a curl. And then it goes, look at the shape of this, how weird. It goes like kinky thing, and then it goes like more kinky thing, and then it's straight here. I don't understand it. Hair texture is something that I do not understand. That's why I didn't go to beauty school to study cosmetology. I've heard of curlers, eyelash curlers that are heat activated, so it like legit sends heat to your eyelashes. I know there are women that do fake eyelashes and they literally glue their eyelashes on, or they put stuff that's magnetic and then it, I'm like, I'm not gonna go all out with that. That's just too much for me. But some women have, their lashes are gorgeous, and I will tell them, I'm like, girl, your lashes are on point. Because I believe in complimenting other people. I'm not that type of person that's gonna get jealous of another woman if she's, you know, pretty, or, you know, because people are people. Why would you not want to celebrate someone else's beauty? Or because think about how ugly it is to be mean. Like, think about how ugly it is if someone's soul is so cruel and they're like, oh my god, she's like, like, who gives a shit? Like, why would you want to be mean when you could be kind? Like, how much better do you feel when you tell some other person, hey, I like your handbag. Hey, like, I've told so many people when there's a lady I think at CVS, when she walked by me and I was like, girl, your perfume smells unbelievable. And they'll be like, yeah, it's vanilla bliss or whatever. And I'm like, you know, because, and that makes someone's day better, right? I mean, I think, like, when people have told me, someone told me, it was weird, I was singing, I didn't even realize I was singing out loud. I was humming something and the girl's like, I love your voice, you have a beautiful voice. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And I didn't realize I was like singing. And I was like, thank you so much. And, or like, I'm trying to remember, oh, someone told me, oh, I like your dress, it's a really pretty dress. And I was like, thank you. And it really does, it brightens your day when you give a compliment to someone else. I don't know why we live in a world where everyone competes against each other. That's why I'm like, I swear to God, I'm not of this earth sometimes. I know I am. I'm human. I know that. But like, sometimes it's like, I feel so out of place because people's normal disposition is one of, I don't know, just like ill intent and cruelty, or like how to take advantage of someone, and I don't know how to navigate that. I've never been good at giving a comeback. I've never been good at giving a comeback ever. Like, meaning, like, if someone was mean to me, I'd be like, and your face. Like, I couldn't do it unless they're such a low-life person and they give me like if they're mean to the, like, bad to the core, and I witness them being mean to someone else, then maybe I can like come up with something. Like, I'll be like, man, that self-tanner is really making your face look orange. Like, if there was a woman walking down the street, like, and she was a bitch, and I'd be like, but I would never say that because my soul doesn't sit in that space. Like, my normal disposition isn't one of, hey, let me make fun of this person. I can't naturally be like that. And it's funny because I should be more of a bitch. Like, I should be. If I was more of a bitch, I don't think I'd be targeted, because I'm a target because I'm too nice or whatever. But anyway, so the reason why I wanted to record this video was I wanted to discuss building. I wrote it down on my post-it. Hold on, there was a name for it. I put it on my post-it because so this will be the first video in the series called Building Trust After Betrayal. I'm also going to do another one, Finding Hope Through Hard Times. Building Trust After Betrayal. How do we do this when you don't trust anybody in your life? Because the thing is, when you get betrayed, it's not just a psychological thing. It's not. When you get betrayed, it's like, I mean, you can relate to this. I'm sure people that have been betrayed or hurt by someone before that they loved or they were close to or friends with, or not even that, just your community in general, because I was betrayed by my community. It's a weird sensation, let me tell you. It is a weird thing to go through. Because you like, I'm gonna kneel down again because it's just easier. It is a weird sensation to go through because you live for X amount of years, however long, right? And everything is hunky-dory, everything is fine, and then 1 minute to the next, you find out that you're like, someone said something about you, or someone tried to frame you for something. I mean, really bad stuff that maybe people said, or did, and you're left dumbfounded, and you're like, who, what, when, where, why? For me personally, it was like my community back home. It was like everyone was playing into this, like, let's all gang up on her thing, and I'm just like, why? It's like I missed the memo, you know? And I reached out to the appropriate resources to try to get help, and you get looked at like you have 3 heads, you know? And you're like, well, I'm trying to get help here, folks, and I don't mean any harm by anybody. I just, you know, it's so funny. I'm looking at the name of my eyeliner right now, and it says Miami Black Card. I'm not kidding. Speak of like my home, because I'm originally from Miami, Florida, and it says Miami Black Card. And a black card is like, I think those cards that like you get when you're like a multi-millionaire or something. I don't know. Shayna B. Miami Black Card. I just noticed the name of it. You can't really see it too much, but it says it on there. I think that's ironic. So anyways, I'm gonna put a little bit of this stuff on. Fun fact, I know this is kind of going off on a tangent and not really like the topic of what, you know, of everything. I'm gonna try to extend this like a wing. I don't know if I can do it though. That looks very Cleopatra-ish. I did like a whack. Fun fact, I always told myself on my wish list years ago, so when I was a server, I was a waitress, some people, when it was Art Basel, if they say it, they used to come in with these really heavy titanium Amex cards, and one of them had beautiful flowers on it, and then another one had like little paint splatter things, and I was like, I'm gonna own one of those cards one day. I told myself, I'm like, that's my goal. I don't know how though, and then I googled it and I was like, how do I get one of those? And then you have to make like over $1 gajillion a year or something, and I was like, well, that may not happen. But it was fun to think that. I was like, it's fun to imagine that, you know, that I would, but I didn't, or I don't make that much, which is fine. I don't aspire to be a millionaire, even though the affirmations I listen to now, it's like, I am strong, I am dedicated, I am motivated, I am rich, I am a multi-millionaire. And I'm like, I mean, it's fun to say, I mean, I could say it, it's fun to imagine it, but like, I don't know, you know. My biggest thing now, more than anything, is safety. If I could wish for anything, it's safety and good health. Because I was doing my little video vlog just for myself yesterday, because I do a video diary to keep track of like everything that I'm going through, just for my own person, just to get my thoughts out until I find a good therapist, because I feel like it's a marathon with therapists. Because I need like a really good, like a, I don't want to say domestic violence therapist trained, because I don't really know if it's domestic violence, but just something where like hurt, like abuse, trauma, like that. And until I find that, I do like a video diary just for myself. And I was realizing that you can have everything in the world. You can be the richest person in the world. And if you don't have good health, that means nothing. because you can't enjoy those luxuries or those things, or the, you know, that you have. And if you don't have safety either, you can't enjoy those things, right? So it's kind of, it's interesting because, like, without health, good health, without good health, you can't, like, legit enjoy the stuff that, like, let's say you are wealthy, right? And you have a yacht, and you have butlers and maids, and you have a house in Tuscany, and a villa in Rome, and a apartment flat in Paris, and then you also have I don't know, a house in Miami or whatever, you know, like there's that Bruno Mars song that's like, I got a beach house in Miami, wake up with no jammies, lobster tail for dinner. You know, like, God forbid, like, someone like that, let's say someone got sick out of nowhere, all of that, you'd be spending all the money trying to fight, like, let's say someone got sick with cancer, all of that money would go to that. And then you'd be sitting there, you'd be in your beautiful whatever, but then, and then let's say you don't have family to share it with, like, right? Let's say you don't have a spouse or a partner or anything like that to share it with. Then really everything becomes kind of, not obsolete, but kind of meaningless, because you don't have anyone to share that stuff with. You know, you may be so rich and whatever, but there's a lot of people who are wealthy but still very alone. Or people who are married and they still feel alone. You know? So, I don't know. Would it be nice to have a yacht? Maybe, because then you could travel wherever you want. Across the ocean and whatever. But, like, no one could put a price tag on health or safety. Nobody. Like, truly. I'm gonna do my hair now. Let's see if this is even, hold on. It's kind of wavy. I call it a lion's mane because literally, legit, it looks like a lion's mane sometimes. It's so floofy. It'll be like, and this is me after I lost a shit ton of hair, so can you imagine when I had, like, it looks like I have a lot of hair, but, like, it's like, it looks pretty tame right now because I put it in the bun and it looks all spirally and whatnot, but yeah, I'm gonna straighten it. But no, you can't put a price tag on safety, but if we're talking about, what did I say? Building trust after betrayal. This is such a hard thing. Oh my God. In my personal experience, if you haven't seen my videos and explain, like, why and what happened to me, it'll make a little bit more sense. But, like, if you have ever just been betrayed by anyone, a friend, a lover, a parent, family member, co-worker, and it could be something as minute or minuscule as, like, let's say you have a coworker and they try to sabotage you, because that's happened to me in the past. Or you have a colleague make up a lie about you, or someone hacks you. Someone hacks your stuff and hacks your computer, and then they lie about it and say, no, I didn't do that, I had no part in it, I didn't bother her, that's not true. And then your whole life falls apart, and you get scared to go places because you think that something bad will happen. Learning how to build trust again after that is really difficult, because by default, your body's going to be on the defense. Your psyche is going to be on the defense. You're going to say, nope, I can't trust that person. Even if that person seems like they have the utmost best intentions for you, like, oh, they won't hurt you, you know, oh, I'm not going to hurt you, I have nothing but good intentions. I've learned, sadly enough, very rarely will people ever do anything for nothing. Meaning, people will usually do something for something else. Like if they get something out of it. I wonder if I can go like this and make it like a wave. Because it was all wavy before, and now it's like, that's fine. I don't know. It'll sort itself out. But anyways, I feel grateful I still have my hair, because if you haven't listened to my videos, I've been kind of afraid of poisoning and all that, and thallium poisoning, one of the main things is alopecia, which is hair loss. Alopecia areata is when it's localized to one spot. Alopecia universalis is when you lose your eyebrows, your armpit hair, your facial hair, your leg hair. And I still have my leg hair. It's the actual hair that's been coming out. And you could say, oh, that's thyroid, which I know. Yes, hormonal stuff. But with the amount of pain I've been in, and no, I don't think it's fibromyalgia, I'm pretty sure thallium is a big culprit of that. There's also a poison that I've learned from Gilmore Girls. I don't know why it's called strychnine, and I don't know how to say that. I'm not a chemist, and I'm not a researcher, so that's also been scary for me. And there's pesticides, there's rat poison, there's a whole slew of things. If someone wanted to take someone out, what they can do to them. And I just don't think people take it seriously, which is really sad. Because if you don't look sick, if you don't look dead, they're going to be like, well, you're fine. And I'm like, well, I wear pain really well. What do you want me to say? Anyways, as I was saying, building trust after betrayal. It's not going to be, if anyone tries to, by the way, if anyone tries to expedite your healing, then they really don't care about you. Because healing is not linear, and I've said that before, meaning healing takes a lot of time. You know, whether, let's say you've been betrayed, let's say your husband cheated on you. Let's say you got a divorce because your husband cheated, right? Because that happens a lot. There are women who, you know, their spouse cheats on them, and then the spouse thinks that there's no issue with it because they cover it up, and they're like, oh my god, get over it. We had a shitty relationship anyways. You don't have sex with me anymore. I'm bored. So I, you know, went on Bumble and Tinder, and I, you know, and they'll give their excuse, and they'll say, oh, it was just sex. I didn't like her. I didn't care about her. I just, you know, you don't sleep with me anymore. You don't go down on me. We don't have any chemistry. And then, you know, then the wife goes, well, you're a piece of shit, and why did we get married? Because for better or for worse, for richer or poor, for sickness and in health, that's the promise we made to each other, so why did you break our vows? Because I wanted to get laid. And that's the truth, you know, that's the truth. I really do think that there are people that, unfortunately, they will step out of their marriage because, you know, they don't get chemistry anymore. That's why I'm telling you, sometimes I go, man, I wish I was a marriage and family counselor or sex therapist, because as someone who waited for sex for, I think it was 32, right? And by the way, if you don't believe that, I promise, well, I can't go to a doctor and go, oh, this is the truth. And I really did wait like a long ass time. So, but yeah, that's usually it. So betrayal comes in all forms, and that's a really hard one, because that's like when you live with someone and you promise to them, right? When you get married, you're like, you're gonna be my person for the rest of my life. We're gonna do this thing, and we're gonna make it work. And then you find out that that person cheated on you or lied to you like a rat the whole time. I mean, I don't even know I have never experienced that, so I don't know what that would feel like. You know, I don't know what that would feel like. And I'm sure there's a woman who wrote a book trying to forgive what you can't forget. And she talks about how her husband was, you know, they experienced infidelity, or she did. And it's really hard to forgive that, because they had, I don't know if they had kids or not, but, you know, there's a lot of men out there who think that their actions don't have a direct effect on the people around them, and that's called narcissism, because they don't care how what they do affects other people, because they just want to get what they get, and then they go you know, and then some people stay together because of the kids, because then you have to sort through the finances and it's a whole thing. I can't relate to that because, again, I've never been married before, but I've learned from watching other people and their relationships, and I tell myself that's why I take marriage very seriously, and I take relationships seriously. And I'm at this, it's weird because I am at this point in my life where I'm in my mid-30s, where I should be focusing. I'm not focusing, but like, that's usually generally speaking, that's like one of the milestones, like when you're in your 30s, is companionship and settling down and family and kids. And I'm still trying to just survive, you know, targeting. I'm just trying to survive life and what feels like a crime. I haven't really been able to even think about those sort of things. It would be nice though, but you know, in a normal world, normal life, but my life is far from normal right now. But building trust after betrayal. I mean, I will say though, what I'm speaking from is in a context of trauma and like violence, I guess, and crime. I think it would be a little bit different. I just don't want people to expect that my story, because there will be some differences, meaning like what I'm experiencing is going to come from a place of like where I've been like poisoned, drugged, I think defamed, like my reputation defamed, slandered, that kind of thing, where you're ostracized from your community. I basically felt like I was going to be a gypsy nomad, where I was going to have to just move all the time with Bonnie. And I was like, I don't want to live out of hotels. I don't want to, you know, I just don't. And this is coming from someone, you know, I'm well educated. I went to school. I have a master's degree. I became what was called a certified child life specialist. I worked with kids. I worked in ICUs, outpatient, you know, care centers. I've worked among the smartest, the brightest, you know, individuals in healthcare. I was a hospitality professional. You know, I wanted to get my my sommelier WSETs or whatever, level 1 sommelier certification. Let's see, all my hair's coming out. And I never got to do that, which is frustrating. And this thing has to reheat because it turned off by itself. It goes up to like 455 degrees, which to women, make sure, ladies, or if you're a man and you straighten your hair, who knows, make sure you put heat protectant, because you don't want to let me tell you, hair is very important. And this is coming from someone who I started to lose my hair in vast amounts, because I'm pretty sure thallium does that, or mercury, or lead, or whatever, God forbid cyanide, I don't know. And I feel really grateful that I still have it. Because I did have lion's mane hair. Literally, it looked like a lion's mane. If I brushed it out, it would legit look like a lion's mane. But in the context of like violence, betrayal, crime, all of that, because I just want to make it very clear, because if you watch this and you're like, oh, I can relate, maybe you can. I will say I haven't had anyone physically like lay their hands on me where they've like smacked me, or, I mean, actually I take it back. I'm not going to go into that. Because I did kind of experience that, but I'm not going to go into that for the sake of anonymity and privacy with my life, my family. I'm not going to say stuff like that, but I have experienced some stuff, but as an adult, so you can't really say it's abuse or child abuse, because I am an adult, and that stuff kind of happened later on as an adult, but still, that shouldn't have happened. And I love the people that happened, like, who, anyways, I'm not going to get into it. Abuse doesn't have to be physical to be considered abuse. There's narcissistic abuse, there's emotional abuse, there's verbal abuse, there's gaslighting, psychological warfare, manipulation, coercion. all these really horrible things. And let me tell you, psychological wounds take a lot longer to heal than physical ones. Physical ones, you have overt, concrete evidence of. Psychological abuse is, that's a really dangerous, vicious cycle to get into with somebody, whether it's a partner, a coworker, a family member. You really wouldn't do it. I mean, with a coworker, I don't think, maybe it happens, I don't know. But it's usually partner violence, partners, spouses, stuff like that. But I haven't been in a relationship long enough with anyone to really say that that would happen. But oh, it's hot. Anyways, I'm gonna migrate over here. It is very hot right now. I need air. I turned my air purifier on. I'm gonna rest my phone on my computer, and then we're gonna go from there. Let me just unlock my computer really quickly. What was I saying? Building trust after betrayal. So this is, I guess this will be the first video in the series of that. I don't know whether to say how to. I may just document and chronicle it. I need to get a ponytail or something for my hair. But we've all, I think, there are people who have had actual partners lay their hands on them. There are people who have had their closest confidants or colleagues, like co-workers. Like, I remember my father said that he had someone years ago betray him, like in a work capacity, like with accounts and stuff. Like, someone tried to take his accounts because he works in sales, and someone tried to take his accounts, and that was when one of our family members was sick. And then another time something else happened where someone completely just blindsided him. So it can happen in any context, you know. So, but when it comes down to, like, for me specifically, I will share that, like, and if you've been, it's hard because I can't call it physical assault because I can't call it that. I mean, it is, because I'm pretty sure I've been poisoned on, like, numerous occasions and drugged against my own will, but proving it has been really difficult. But if I was able to, then I'd have evidence for a crime, right? But people are so good at covering stuff up. They're masters of illusion. So it's like, me trying to prove it is hard. So anyways, coming back from that sort of abuse, and it's perpetual too. It's not like one day it'll just, you know, like, it's escalated to the point where, like, I literally have, like, experienced that even when I thought it would stop, it continued. So it's like, finding reprieve from that is very difficult. And then so you automatically, just to share the experience of what it's like, you automatically, you don't trust anybody. Even if someone says that they have good intentions for you and they're like, I promise I would never hurt you. I can't tell you how many times, like, what if I started dating someone, or not even dating, just trying to get to know them, right? Like the infancy stages of trying to get to know someone. I will automatically, the first thing I'll say, like, if I go out with them, I'm like, you won't do anything to hurt me, right? And sometimes I'll make light of it and joke. I'm like, you're not a serial killer, right? You're not gonna hurt me, right? And they're like, no, I'll never do that. And then I find out later that, you know, maybe they had bad intentions or something. And I will say, when you're a card reader, it makes it 10 times harder, because I have it, you know, I call it the deck of truth, you know, and like I'll have, you know, like this one says soulmate on the back, but like, and has like different words, situationship, whatever. But I can like immediately tell, you know, like figure out someone's motives, and it's hard when that comes out. But in respect to just betrayal in general, not necessarily relationship betrayal, stuff like that, just with people, when people hurt you and people go behind their back to talk about you and make up lies about you and gossip about you, or find ways to try to hurt you like they've done for me, and you can't prove it, right? Because it's hard to prove any of the stuff that I've gone through. It's very hard to prove, and they do that. They make it that way on purpose, so that I'm easily discredited, so I won't get the help that I need, or I look crazy, or you know, or maybe they'll say, oh, maybe she has underlying health issues, and that's not true at all. I was as healthy as an ox a few years ago. And anyways, it's gonna be a process, and I'm trying my darndest to push through the pain of all the stuff that I'm going through, and I'm trying to figure out ways to build trust with people, and that's even like with strangers, co-workers, because by default, automatically when you get hurt, right, when you get betrayed, automatically your defenses, it doesn't matter if the person's like smiling and they're like, I care for you so much, and they can say one thing, your intuition, number one, will tell you another thing, and then you're gonna have your ego thinking conscious mind to come into play, and then that makes it 10 times worse, because then that's the part of your brain that's like your frontal lobe, right, that's like always thinking and has the ticker tape going, oh, no, be careful, red flags. Like, you know, in the movie Inside Out, when they have all the emotions, it's like the control center, the hub, it's like that's what, you know, that's what like I'm going through, where it's like I go, can I trust this person? Is what they're saying genuine? And one thing I did learn from a dad that I taught his daughters yoga, he said, Ashley, never forget that integrity is when someone's actions align with their words. So if someone says something but then they don't follow through with their actions, then they lack integrity, or vice versa. So that's kind of a good quantifier or a good determinant in behavior or character of somebody. I guess if you say like, can I trust this person? Well, which I'm going to write this down for me, because I feel like this is a message that's very important. I don't know why. And I'm trying to give the how-tos of, you know, how to decipher and discern. How do you learn to build trust with someone? Well, first of all, you have to see if their words align with their actions, and vice versa. Are they consistent? Are they reliable? What makes someone trustworthy, I've learned, is that you can rely on them. They also take accountability for their actions. They demonstrate a certain level of maturity as well. So like, let's say they fuck up, excuse my language, not say fuck up, let's say they make a mistake, or they assume something about you that's wrong, or they hurt you in some way, or they, you know, forget something about you, or like, if they're a mature adult or mature person, they'll say something along the lines of, I'm so sorry, I forgot, or like, I didn't mean to, it slipped my mind, or whatever. That they take accountability. So they won't deflect or project the blame. They'll say, hey, I messed up, I'm sorry, or I'm sorry I hurt your feelings if I said something insensitive. They take accountability for it. they're consistent and reliable in their words and their actions. So let's say you're dating someone or trying to get to know someone. When they say, I've noticed this a lot with people, unfortunately it's happened many a time with me, where they'll say, oh, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, or I'm gonna call you at this time, and then they don't call you. That's an X. That's inconsistency and lacking reliability. And then there's no follow through. And then there's no accountability after that, saying, hey, I'm so sorry, I forgot about our conversation, or I'm sorry that I overpromised and I didn't follow through on my word. Building trust, how do you also do that? It's showing up during times of crisis and expecting nothing back from someone. Meaning, and I'm not meaning in the context of a relationship, let's just say this is platonic. Let's just say this is like, you're trying to build trust with someone. That's another, I think, important factor as well. I'm trying to think again, how do you build trust with someone? It really, it comes down to that. Consistency, reliability, loyalty. Again, like if you're in a crisis, that person, and that becomes divulged, and you learn about someone's character over time. When you go through a hardship, you learn a lot about someone when things don't go the way that they expected to. You learn how they react to something, because that'll show their level of maturity. And if they become, like if they stonewall, if they become closed off, cold-hearted, blaming, guilt-tripping, then you're gonna learn that that's someone that can't be trusted. Notice how they talk about other people as well. Do they gossip about other people in front of you? Do they make fun of other people in front of you? That's not the kind of person that I'd want to be around. I think it's just one of the biggest things is just showing up for you and expecting nothing in return. Because a lot of people I've learned will only do something for something else. Like if something's in it for them, like if they have an incentive. Very rarely, unfortunately, have I encountered individuals where they're like, you know what? I'm gonna do this for this person because it's the right thing to do. Because it'll help her. It'll feel like for me, when I help other people, it makes me feel good. Not because it's an ego boost, but because I know that if I was in that situation, I'd want someone. You don't know how many times in the past 2 weeks, and it's such an interesting observation of behavior, where I will go downstairs to the lobby of my building and I won't feel good or something. I have my mask on. I wear my mask just because of germs, and I've been sick. Like, I've been getting sick more often than not lately. I'm also under an intense amount of stress with all this stuff. And it's amazing. People won't... Recently, someone held the door open for me. Two different couples. One younger, one older. They did hold the door open for me. One of them, on the back of his shirt, he actually had the American flag, which was pretty cool, I think. I was like, that was a cool, thing. I saw that. And, I don't know. It's just, it was just a distinct feature. It stuck out to me, and I remember that detail. And he was with a girl. I didn't think it was just, in my mind, I was like, thank you, God. I was like, there are nice people who are conscientious and have manners, that their parents taught them propriety. And then there's an older couple who actually, they, very well-to-do, very well-dressed. He had gray hair. She had a very distinct, petticoat, like a black petticoat on. Her hair was very coiffured, and she was, you can tell that she was just, they took pride in their appearance. And he held the door open for me. He literally, I tried to hold the door open for them, and he's like, no, you go ahead. Twice. So I was like, okay. I was like, okay, God. I was like, you know, there are some people out there who are good, and they don't get anything out of that. I don't know if they were staying in the building, because I know the top floors of my building, I think some of them are Airbnbs, if I'm not mistaken. And it was just an interesting observation that I noted to myself. And so when I go, oh, all hope is lost, I go, remember, and let me tell you, it's just a small gesture. Holding the door open for someone no one gets anything out of that. But the small gesture, it says so much, because in that small gesture, you're basically saying, I honor and recognize you as an individual enough to say, I want to make sure to hold the door open for you. I don't want to close the door on your face. And I've had a lot of people do that to me as of late. Like, literally, I'll go downstairs and I'll be right behind them, and they see me in their periphery, and they'll just, and I'm like, and I want to so badly under my breath go, jerk. And they go, Ashley, it's not worth it. Don't become petty and bitter like them. Because one of the things that I pride myself very heavily on is the fact that I am goodness. Like, I have my little thing that says on the wall here, I create goodness. I made this years ago when I worked at a hospital as a child life specialist. They said, what do you create? And I made a thing that says, and we put it above our desks, and I take pride in that, because it's like one of my I've had it with me, and I remind myself, no matter how mean people get, Ashley, don't become mean and bitter like them. But going back to what I was saying, building trust after betrayal, it's gonna take a lot of time. And there are gonna be people who are gonna be assholes. They're gonna let you down. People are really shitty. I'm being dead ass honest. Hurt people hurt people. Happy people don't hurt people. And I'm hurting, but I decide to consciously say, I'm not gonna hurt people. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? It's the miserable people, the jealous people, the spiteful, the envious, that have to spend their waking hours trying to figure out how to undermine and sabotage another individual. That's the only logical explanation that I have. There's also people who hurt people for money. You know, I'm not going to deny that. But trying to build trust after that trust has been breached and betrayed, I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate that. Because for me, I've had companies, vendors, I think, finagle with and mess with food that I eat, that I need for nutrition and sustenance, and when I eat it, I feel worse. I feel weak. I feel like my energy's depleted. I feel fatigued. I feel poisoned, essentially. So, and these are things that, like, I drink on a day-to-day basis, like milk, orange juice, water. And I know it sounds crazy. Trust me, I know it sounds crazy, but I try to remind myself, remember, Ashley, there's power in forgiveness. There's power in humility. The mind is powerful. And not to say that you can heal your body with your mind. I know that there was a book my dad told me about years ago, like, you can heal your back pain. And there's another book too that was about people who were afraid of flying and getting over their fear of flying, and just reading a book about flying helped them overcome it. And then also helped the whole back pain thing cure someone of their back pain. So I kind of tell myself that if I'm right about everything that I surmise is going on, and I am being targeted, and I am being, like, bullied, and people are putting stuff in my food to test me or see it as some sort of avant-garde, experimental, whatever, what have you, I can't control that. I can't change their mind. I can't tell them to stop. It's very harmful. It's very hurtful. But I have to keep pushing forward, and I have to keep going, because I don't have a choice. I hope I don't pass away from it, and I would very much like to see my life play out, and there's a lot of goals that I have that I want to see come to fruition. But, you know, bullies are bullies, and when bullies take it to such a degree where they carry it out overtly and they do it very stealthily, that's some serious stuff. And it's not like I can't go to police in the way that people have told, go to police. I've had a guy recently, he told me, we were romantically involved, and he's like, Ashley, think about what you're saying. And he was right. Not to say he was playing devil's advocate, but he was right, where he said, like, he said, if you're saying all these things, then why don't you go to the police? And then if you don't go to the police, you're going to look like you made it up or Looney Tune. And I go, it's a lot more complicated than that, unfortunately. And the reason why I say that is because it turned into this whole monumental thing that I can't really put a finger on. It's very much like a Twilight Zone kind of thing. And people say, well, if all this stuff is true, then get tested, have your blood tested. But the thing is, with the crime network that I think targeting is, there's a lot involved in it, and I don't know the specifics. All I know is that it involves hacking, surveillancing, electronic harassment, noise harassment. And what I mean by hacking is, like, people will go and they'll hack your devices so they can track what you do. Some spyware can actually see what you do in real time. Like, literally, I'll be on my phone and someone can control my phone from a distance through like special software where they can see your screen. They'll screen mirror your screen in real time. So if someone sees that I'm getting a blood test on this and this date, they're liable, if they wanted to go into the system, change the numbers in the EHR, the medical record. And I've suspected that this has happened to me before, because I've felt horrible, and it's proof too, because I've gone to, when I had Epstein-Barr virus, which is mononucleosis, years ago, I got tested for that at one clinic. This is back in Virginia, at like a very well-known, reputable healthcare system, and they go, no, you don't have anything. They tested me for strep and for mono. No, you don't have anything. I get a blood test done by 2 different people outside of that healthcare system, who I paid out of pocket, like money out of pocket for a very like extensive blood panel, to some extent. And they said, yeah, you have antibodies for Epstein-Barr virus. So one of those people, they were right, the other one was wrong. So that's my point. So you have to be very careful about who you go to and stuff like that. And that's what I mean by betrayal. And coming back from that, and mind you, that was a healthcare system. Now, could it have been a false negative? Maybe. He swabbed my throat and my nose, so maybe it wasn't that accurate, and this was actual blood test. But I read behavior really well. I'm like a human lie detector. And when that doctor came into the room, he barely made eye contact with me. The older gentleman, the one who said it was negative. He didn't seem like he cared about my well-being. He didn't, you can tell by a doctor's bedside manner, the way that they interact with you, the level of care and compassion. There are doctors who will sit down, get really close, pull up their chair, hey, tell me what's going on. Tell me everything, what's going on, whatever, and then I'll do my physical, auscultation and examination, I'll let you know. But okay, so when did this start? Okay, I got it, okay. You can tell that they really care about what they do. Then there's some that are very laissez-faire, that are like, man, I've done this for so many years, I'm so, what is it you have? Oh, you're not feeling good? Oh, okay, let me go in what's your date of birth? Okay. Oh, you were on escitalopram. Oh, so you're depressed? Oh, so she has mental health issue. Okay. Versus a doctor that's like, okay, you know what? Oh, what are your symptoms? Okay, you're having this, and this. Well, if they think holistically, they'll go, well, it could be, they'll be like detectives, and they'll be like, okay, so you've demonstrated this, and this. Have you ever, there was even one guy, I consider him a doctor, when I was in Vermont and I did a virtual consultation with him. He was fantastic, and he said to me, have you ever considered mold toxicity? Have you considered parasitology, or like having I think it's called a PCR test? And I was like, I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I thought I had parasites years ago. And he's like, that's also something we need to look into. He really cared. So it's a targeting, it's a real thing, and betrayal is a in those, and I don't know if it's allegiances or alliances in the sense of like, you know, I've thought about it. I'm like, is it a cult? You know, I've gone so far. I told myself, I'm like, is it a cult? Is it a secret society that it's like a code of between them, you know, because the one that didn't really give me the full scoop, he was an older gentleman. I'm not going to say his name. But he just didn't seem to care. And even some of the new school doctors that graduate, it's like they don't look at the patient holistically. They don't see the person. They don't consider the sociocultural factors or the socioeconomic factors that can also affect, or their community. Like they don't look at the whole picture, the diet, the you know, mental health, stuff like that. So anyways, not to go off on a tangent about healthcare, but my point is that betrayal comes in all shapes and sizes, and it doesn't necessarily have to just be within the family. It doesn't have to be abuse. It could be literally a doctor not being forthright with you about your medical care or your medical treatment. It could be, I've had like employers that weren't that forthright. So it comes in all shapes and sizes, but I think the one thing I want to say is that, and this is where God, or whatever you consider God to be, if you don't believe in God, you can call it your intuition, what have you. I think we've all been blessed with this inner knowing and inner GPS system where we have discernment, where that emotional GPS, that guidance system will come in and go, wait a second, red flag, don't do that. That's not a good fit. Don't move there. Don't date that person. Don't go to that hospital. Don't go to that doctor. And if you're even more in touch with angels and, you know, it's the spiritual realm, what have you, the metaphysical stuff, you'll really amp up that frequency. Because I do believe that there are certain individuals and personalities that are more susceptible or more prone or apt to be able to tune into that frequency and develop that psychic muscle, if you will. Well, where they won't need cards, they'll just know, they'll have that discernment, like, yeah, that won't be a good doctor to go to. Yeah, that won't be a good city to move to. Yeah, that job, I don't know. Some people I think are quick to be able to, they have that discernment built in easier than others. Some people it's a muscle, like you have to train. For me, it's hard because I open my heart to everybody. I'm very empathic, so like a super empath, if you will. I think they call it a Heyoka empath. But I open my heart to everybody, so then therefore I trust everybody by default. And now I've learned that I have to kind of become like a turtle and go within my shell and covet and protect my peace. Because if you disperse yourself to everybody, they're gonna take, and they don't give a shit. They will literally take every bit of energy, an ounce of energy that you have, and then they will run with it. They'll take, oh, your kindness, your goodness, your grace, your humility, and then they will run with it. And then they will never look back. That's usually what narcissists do. But people who reciprocate and have that companionate, that compassionate kind of nature about them, they'll notice your kindness and they'll reciprocate that back to you. And then that's what reciprocity is. And I think that's also a good way to start when you build trust with people. Ask, do they reciprocate? Do they reciprocate that? Do they extend that same kindness and consideration to you? Like, I'm trying to think of a good example. I'm trying to think of a good example. you do a favor for somebody, right? Like, you offer to give a ride to someone, right? Like, let's say I had a car. I don't have a car, but let's say I had a car. And I had a friend that lived here in Chicago, and they needed a ride over to, let's say, a hospital or an urgent care, or let's say their car broke down, or I don't know, something happened, and they needed some help. I'd come in, take them wherever they needed, wouldn't expect anything out of it, just because I'd go, if I was in a pickle, if I was in a bind, I'd want to help that person. And then they would, reciprocate that in whatever way they could. Oh, you helped me out. Remember that time you helped me out? I want to pay that back to you, and I want to do something for you. That's reciprocity. That's another way to build trust with people. So for me, lately, I haven't seen that. I've seen it in minute gestures here and there. Like I said, with that couple, those two couples that they held the door open for me. And to me, oh my God, you would think, you're like, oh my God, she's so, like, holding the door. That's so whatever. That was monumental. Because coming from someone who's had the worst stuff happen to her, that meant the world to me. Even a woman, when I was dropping a package off at FedEx a few months ago, like a return package for Amazon, and she literally held the door open for me. And I have a problem with doors because I get scared that there's stuff on a door sometimes, because I've touched door handles of places and things, and and I've had weird reactions where I almost like suffocated, or like, don't ask me why or how, but anyways, yeah. And so that was a big deal for me. Do I think it's possible to build trust after betrayal? I do, but it takes an immense amount of self-awareness. It takes an immense amount of forgiveness and inner healing. Because when you've had it breached, and that could happen in numerous ways, like I said, it could be anything from someone cheating on you, or lying about you, starting a smear campaign about you, gossiping about you, slandering your entire name to a community, framing you. I've even told myself, have I been framed for stuff? Because with technology now, with AI, people can copy your voice, they can make deep fakes of your pictures, of videos, text messages, emails, and if someone hacks you, forget about it. They can get your passwords, they do a keylogger, boom, they can wreak havoc on your life. So just like, be mindful of that. But I do think it's possible to build trust after betrayal. It's not going to be easy, and there will be a lot of times where you're going to make progress and you're going to go uphill, and then you'll bump into a wall and a tree, and then you're going to have to meander around it, and then you're going to maybe go down the hill a little bit, and then, or maybe not even a hill, just maybe it's bumpy, the terrain and the surface might get a little unsteady, but then ultimately I think also too, I think if you exude that, it's also mindset too, because if you believe that everyone's horrible, like, that's why I remember years ago, this is my gratitude journal. I've been trying to get back, and I have been diligent about it. I have been disciplined, but I remember years ago, I was very laminator happy, and I would laminate like everything, literally in my life. I laminated everything, and I remember I kept seeing the opposite of what I wanted to see in my life. I kept meeting people who just seemed angry and bitter and cold and mean and just ugly, like, and when you're ugly on the inside, it reflects outwardly, then you look ugly on the outside. So I used to tell myself, I go, let me do this affirmation thing, let me do this mindset thing, and then I would say, I wrote it down, and if you could see, it says, there are beautiful, kind, wonderful people in the world. I'm eager to engage with them. And then I put, at night, say I am thankful for, and you'd say 3 positive things. And then that's kind of where my gratitude journal was birthed from. And it kind of shifted my thinking to be more positive. And I literally tell myself there are beautiful, kind, wonderful people in the world. And I would envision this. I would envision smiling people. I would envision gracious people, humble people, good-hearted people who don't expect anything back from anybody. And that helped me immensely. I would literally sit there and I would feel the emotion of what it felt like to be around these people, a community of individuals who would help other people and who did good, not because they would get anything out of it, just because it was who they were or who they are. And that soothed my soul. And then eventually it was interesting, my realities, what I would think started to reflect my reality. Even when I was a server, I'd meet wonderful people. And I'd go, wow, this is so cool, you know, how powerful your thoughts are. I shifted my perspective. I paired the emotion of feeling satisfied and appreciative and gracious and grateful to imagining and visualizing good, kind people. And I did. I remember when I was probably working at the NICU at the time as a child life specialist, and I met some really remarkable families. And yeah, so I've kind of had to resort back to, while going through this experience, I've kind of had to resort back to these things that I used to do when I was like, I don't know, 23 or 24 years old, possibly. And it's helped, you know, when I focus on like what was it I have here? I put on, it was August 13th. This is a big deal for me because I've experienced weird things in different rooms and places where I thought I was like going to be sedated because I thought I was being human trafficked. I'm just going to put it out there. So I was really scared to go downstairs to like the washroom to do, because I don't have a washer dryer in my unit. I have to like literally take things downstairs. What time is it? 6:05. And so I wrote, I was brave and washed my blankets downstairs. And then I also got a phone call from someone who I wrote a thank you letter to, that in the Department of Human Services or Family Services or whatever. And she called me, like she actually called me and says, thank you so much for your letter, because I like to write letters, and I don't want to say it's a dying art, I hate the word dying, but it's one of those things that people don't really do anymore. Like people don't really write greeting cards, or they don't, you know, do a handwritten note. And I pride myself, like I grew up on, my parents taught me, like when you get a gift from someone, you say thank you, whether it's for your birthday or for, you know, Christmas. And so I wrote her a thank you note. And I just said, thank you so much for, you know, extending kindness to me and helping assist me with my case, with my, you know, I did SNAP or whatever. And, you know, she took the time to call me and then like that, and left a voice message. And so that I wrote that here. And then I wrote, and then I wrote 2 separate couples, one young, one old, were nice and held the doors open for me. And then I wrote, I'm grateful my kidneys work because I still can pee and my memory's intact. Because the thing is, if I'm pretty sure I have been experiencing where people put aluminum or tin or something in my food. I don't know how, don't ask me how, I don't know. But that stuff is really bad for you. Tin and aluminum in your food is like really bad for you. So this little gnat is like flying around. And so, because I still pee, I know that's like maybe that's TMI, but like I'm super happy my kidneys work and function well. I don't know how my liver's doing. I think that's another thing up for debate, but I'm grateful for that. And then my dad also drove me to the grocery store recently. Like he actually was like, he said he was in his pajamas and sleeping or something, and he actually drove me to the grocery store. So I wrote that I was grateful for that. So yeah, I mean, it's not medicine, you know, for me. Like, it's not an antidote to stuff, but it's an antidote for my soul and for my mind. So maybe it'll help you. I did do a video a while back that was like how to survive gang stalking and targeting, and I shared all the things that I've done to kind of help push myself through. Because let me tell you folks, like, I've been alone in this. I've been alone. Like, I have people come and go in and out of my life, and I tell myself, Ashley, remember, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, so you can't really fault them. So as long as while they're in your life, they treat you fairly and with respect and humility and kindness and honesty and loyalty, then that's what matters. Because people will come and go. You know, the ones that stick and the ones that stay, those are blessings. And unfortunately, I haven't had, and I'm sorry if I cry, I haven't had that many people stay or stick around. And I think that's also in part because what I'm going through is kind of funky and weird. And it's a lot to deal with, and a lot of people don't really want to deal with that hardship. Because then when they do, that means that they have to take on that burden with you. So then you're carrying baggage and luggage together, you know? And that's what a friend is, by the way. If you ever are lucky enough where you have someone in your life that they're willing to walk that journey with you of healing, and they know that you've been hurt and stuff like that, but yet they still walk that journey with you, do your best to try to, you know, not try to overthink that or, you know, stress about that. Because, I mean, people will show you who they are. You know, Maya Angelou said that when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Some people are only capable of a certain amount of emotional support. Some people can't go past a certain threshold when it comes to emotional support because they themselves lack giving emotional support to themselves. So sometimes you can't expect someone to give you all this, you know, emotional support if they themselves can't support themselves, or they themselves maybe experience trauma or abuse. So usually they say birds of a feather flock together, you know, but they also say opposites attract. But like, usually people that are experiencing somewhat similar situations, they find each other, and they either make each other better and boost each other up, or unfortunately maybe they bring each other down. So you want to try to find people that will boost you up, you know, and lift you up and encourage you and motivate you. Easier said than done. You also don't want to find people who use your pain against you, because there are people who do that, and they get an ego boost feeling like, oh, I'm gonna help her because I'm like a therapist and I know what's best, you know, I know what's best because I'm experienced, and I know. That's just an ego boost. That's you're a charity case, and no. The friend is someone who walks with you. You know, they say like when Christ walks with you in that journey, it's like when they don't walk ahead of you, they walk with you. Side by side, footsteps side by side. They don't go, I know what's best, but they say, okay, well, we're going to work on this. We're going to figure it out together. But I'm going to support you through that, and I don't expect anything out of it. If you have that kind of person in your life, even if they're not a family member, maybe they're a spouse, maybe they're a partner, maybe they're a friend, maybe they're a coworker, do your best to try to not let the intrusive thoughts win, but try to take it day by day. Because I do believe that trust can be cultivated and reformed. It just is going to take time. Everything takes time. Time heals everything. But I think you also, at the same token, you have to be willing to open your heart to receive that. Because if your heart is closed and you believe everyone's horrible, then your predominant reality is everyone's horrible, everyone's out to get me, everyone's shitty, I don't trust anybody. But you also don't want to be so trusting that you allow anybody into your life. Because that, in the same token, can happen. And that's my fault, and I've done that. So I think if you just remember words and actions align, that means integrity. They demonstrate consistency and they're reliable. They follow through. They take accountability when they make mistakes. And they reciprocate. And also, if you're in a time of crisis, they don't use that as an ego boost of, oh, I know best, or, you know, there's a song, Mother Knows Best, from Tangled. Mother knows best, listen to your mom. And she was like a haggardly, horrible person. And she used Rapunzel's hair and her like beauty or whatever to try to give her vitality. And she kept her locked in a tower and all that stuff. And then she finally got out of the tower because she went with Eugene Hertzberger, the whatever, the Tangled guy, which they're actually doing a live action remake of, which looks really good, and they're filming in Spain apparently. Anyways, I do think it's possible to build trust. It's going to take a lot of time, and not everyone is trustworthy. Remember that. But you have to also build trust with yourself. And if you do feel like you're being hurt, if you do feel like you're being abused, mine is it's a tricky situation to navigate. It's very unique. Because it's something that I think happens to people globally, worldwide. So it's not like an easy fix, like, oh, it's 1, 2, 3. Like, it'll be all over tomorrow. Everything will be fixed by tomorrow. I think there's a little bit more involved in that. But this is the first video in my series of building trust after betrayal. And I will kind of I do what it's like dating as a targeted individual, which I put a halt on kind of because I haven't really been focused on dating, because I can't really do that because I've been focusing on survival and working, and I really don't want to stay in Chicago. So I don't think it's fair, and I'm at the point in my life where I don't want one night stands. I don't really do that. I don't want some thing like, especially with a guy, if he's like in his 40s and he's like, I don't want to whatever, I'm like, no bro, I'm here to meet someone who can be like a source of, like, I got you, not like I want to just F you, I'm worth more than that. I know that, like, I'm worth more than that. I'm more than just a body. I'm a person, and I matter. And if I just relegate myself to just being an FUCK toy, then that means I have no self-respect. And we all go through that stage. Like, there's some people go through it in college where they just do frivolous, casual, whatever. But I'm worth more than that. And I may not meet anyone until, like, I don't know, maybe I'm 40. I'm 34 now. I could be 40, 39 years old until I meet someone who's mature, rational, solid, stable enough and honest enough to say, like, I'm going to be that source of, like, respite, and you can trust me, and it's going to take time, but, like, I'm not going to hurt you kind of person. And someone who really, like, someone who wants a real formidable, meaningful, significant relationships with someone, not just like this, I want to see you at 10 o'clock at night and, I'm horny because my girlfriend doesn't want to go down on me kind of thing. I don't want to do that. I'm 34. I'm not 24. So, it's cute to watch, like, when you watch it on TV and you watch the thing like that show Off Campus and people are hooking up left and right, but like when after the shit that I've been through, it's like I'm looking for a solid partnership with someone. And if I want to ever have that, like a meaningful, sustainable, formidable connection with someone built on trust, communication, loyalty, all that stuff, I need to first be able to do that trust with just everyday people in general. And it's not easy, because when you feel like your community, your family, even though my family, when I call, they do answer, so I have to give them that. But my community, sometimes, family, friends, law enforcement, unfortunately, in certain places, even the military at certain points, I felt like I was being bullied by. Imagine all those things. That comprises your world, right? That's what comprises of people's world. If those things betrayed me, imagine trying to build trust just incrementally, bit by bit. That's not easy. And vendors too, where, like, whether it's a fast food vendor or a I don't know, like not a restaurant, or how can I trust that the chef at the restaurant isn't going to put some cyanide or some mercury or lead or arsenic or whatever to knock me out? Or because that's what it's come to, folks. I'm pretty damn sure. I know my body, and weird stuff has happened to me. And if you've never heard about targeting, well, unfortunately, that's what comes with the territory. So I'm doing my best to pray through it. I pray and I close my eyes and I go, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I don't consider myself super religious, but I do say an Our Father here and there. I will throw the Our Father. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. I said that in the Hail Mary, and Lord God protect me, Christ Jesus, such a light, all of that stuff. And I know people are like, oh, she's such a Jesus freak, she's such a whatever. No. I believe there's power in words. I imagine that if they did exist, that I call upon that energy and that spirit to just overwhelm my body and heal my body as best as they can. And just I ask for grace, because I don't have an antidote, unfortunately. I just have me, my faith, prayer, humility, forgiveness, grace, and hopefully, incrementally, bit by bit, hopefully I'll have a support system. Because my support system just basically fell apart throughout this whole thing. And I don't mean a fake support system. Like, I don't mean fake friends, fake lovers, fake co-workers. Like, I don't mean that. I mean like actual, real, sustainable, long-term, good Samaritans. And they don't have to be religious. They don't have to be people who believe in God. They could be an atheist for all I know. I don't give a shit. As long as sometimes the atheists are more virtuous than actual Christians and Catholics. Go figure. Maybe even Satanists, which is crazy, because Satanists are very black and white. They're very like, you either deserve compassion or you don't. And the people that are shitty they don't deserve compassion. I'm not kidding. I looked up the differences between Satanism and Church of Satan. And you'd be shocked at, like, you look at the distinctions side by side, pretty interesting. Now, I don't identify as Satanist myself. I just think that they're very, very black and white. And I don't think they believe in the devil, but they believe in that it's like a goat character or something, like I think it's called Baphomet, if I'm not mistaken. And I know all the people that are Christian Catholic, you're like, oh my God, the travesty, don't ever mention this to me. This is, no, you're talking about the devil. It's not that. You have to educate yourself. You have to educate yourself, because if you're going to sit there and espouse something, especially on the internet, which is a public forum, You need to educate yourself. And you can't base it on personal opinion. You have to base it on fact, on empiricism. Otherwise, you're just... And I'm not saying identify as a Satanist. I'm just saying that you have to look at the schools of thought. It's like a philosopher. You have, the Socrates, you have Plato, Aristotle, whatever. So, anyways, going back to building trust after betrayal, do I think it's possible? Yes. Do I think it's possible that you can date as a target individual? I did that video where I asked that question at the end of the video. I don't know. I'm kind of throwing this gang stalking thing or targeting thing on its head. I'm throwing it for a loop because I'm telling people, yes, you can. Because these people don't want you to. They want you to be miserable. They want you to be sick, depressed, sad, lonely, dead, in a coffin, in a mental institution, ostracized from society, in pain, and either unalived and you take your life. And I'm like, but no. I matter. And I had this beautiful life before all of this. And I may be traumatized, I may be bruised, but I'm not broken. And I may be getting poisoned and all this stuff, but I remind myself that I'm an instrument of God and that I try to imagine that I have like Christ's blood flowing through my veins, which sounds crazy, but I like to imagine that. Because if you think about it, whether you believe in Christ or not, the powerful dude. So you say, imagine if you had that energy coursing through your veins. That would make you really, really special. And I think and I try to imagine, which, speaking of Spiritual Sunday, it is Spiritual Sunday. So that means I have to do a Spiritual Sunday reading. And that means that you can defy the odds and achieve the impossible, which I don't know with targeting and gang stalking. I don't really know how you succeed within that, because these people are ruthless and merciless. They don't care who you are. They don't care how good you are, how kind you are, when you volunteer at the animal shelter, when you volunteer at the soup kitchen, or if you're homeless or whatever. They don't care. What they care about is making sure that their hit goes through, 2222 confirmation, and that they get their payout, which means your life, that they take your life or you take your own. And I'm 234 on the clock, and I hate to say it like that, but that's the truth. These people don't care about fluff and God, or on the flip side they do, and they think that they're doing God's work, and they think, oh, I'm gonna sacrifice her for the greater good, which is really sick and twisted. So I will leave it at that, but that was the first video, part 1 of building trust after betrayal. And it's gonna be it's a process, and sometimes I may cry, but I hope in sharing my journey and what I'm going through, I hope that can give you some peace and respite too, knowing that there is someone who's also struggling, because that's the human struggle, that's life. God never, whatever you believe that to be, never said that it was going to be easy, just that we would be equipped with the tools necessary to be able to go through it. So I tell myself, this is really hard, but there's music, there's creativity, I think there's arts, there's healing in the arts. I'm a very big proponent of the arts. I hope the arts I think kids in schools need the arts for self-expression, for healing, and I hope they never take that away. There's physicality. You can do yoga, meditation. It's hard to do this stuff if, unfortunately, for me, I've been experiencing this thing, where I've been gassed in certain places and homes. And I say it's scary gas because it's gas that's made me pierce my lungs. Or volatile organic compounds, or VOCs if you want to say that. But I just pray to God and I go, I can do hard things that scare me. So, bit by bit, paso a paso, step by step, poco y poco, little by little. And I never underestimate the power of kindness. I never give up hope, because hope is there for a reason. Just like we have anger, we have bitterness, resentment, we have, because I do think good and evil, it's the same thing. It like night and day. It exists on a spectrum, if you think about it. It's the same thing. It's just the opposite. Evil is the opposite of good. Dark is the opposite of light, so it's the same thing, but it's just different ends of the spectrum. So in that token, I just focus more on the light. And if you can't find the light, be the light. If you can't find the sunshine, be the sunshine. If you can't find kindness, be kindness. Because then you'll start a domino effect. Because someone will see you smile, and then they'll smile back. And here's another thing, folks. People will look at you like you're weird. And they will call you a butterfly. And they'll call you a deer or a rabbit. And they'll liken you to these soft woodland creatures that hop about. Or in my case, Eevee, the Pokemon, because I'm, if you know the little cute little Pokemon, or Valpyrion, or whatever. And you know what, I'm okay with that, because Eevee evolved into Ninetales, so. And if you don't know what Ninetales is, it's a Pokemon with literally 9 tails, and she's beautiful, and she looks like a Labrador Retriever, poodle thing. So I'm okay with that. I'd rather be Ninetales than Jigglypuff. So anyways, if you don't know Pokemon, that's a Pokemon reference. I do think it's possible, though. I think you can build trust incrementally. And when you radiate goodness from your heart, that's really hard to fuck with. When you're a happy soul, when you're a grateful soul, you may be broke ass poor, but you're rich in spirit. And that richness in spirit is what will carry you through really hard times. And that will create tenacity and resiliency and fortitude. And hopefully, as you embody that energy and exemplify it, you'll hopefully attract other people who also possess that same tenacity and resiliency and goodness and compassion and kindness. And you may only get just one person in your life. Hey, you know what? If you're granted and bestowed, if you cross paths with someone like that, don't take that for granted. And there will be assholes. There will be those people who will test your patience and will be like, ha 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 ha. I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna use all her trigger words. I'm gonna dress in white. If you don't know what I mean by that, you need to watch my other videos, but it's things like triggering things. I'm gonna say all the things that bother her. I'm gonna reference all the things that bother her, and then I'm gonna cause extreme psychological turmoil. And then you're gonna say to that, which is what I have over here, which is what my father taught me. It says, you tell the thought, I know you're there. You have no power over me. I wrap you in light and love, or light and strength, and convert you to positive energy. And then you say 3 things you're grateful for that day. And then I also like to say, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And there's something else. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. There was something else that I say and I can't remember what it is. But either way, forgive them for they know not what they do. Because a lot of people don't know what they do. When you're clouded by ego and greed and envy, a lot of people engage in really devious behavior. And this is as adults in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. I'm not talking about a 10-year-old whose frontal lobe is underdeveloped and they're trying to navigate emotional self-regulation. I'm talking about actual grown-ass men and women in bodies, fully developed bodies, fully developed brains, who get off at being jerks to other people. And the way you rise above that is what I've learned from watching different videos, is that you have to be non-reactive, because a bully seeks a reaction. That's why they do it. No one would sit there and use trigger words or dress in with a certain color or certain shirt that they know bothers you or whatever, unless they wanted a reaction from you. So work on being non-reactive. Work on observing, staying silent, focusing on yourself. If you feel pain and you're hurting, cry it out. That's what I do. Cry it out. Cry it the fuck out. And then just